Today, we are jumping headfirst into the weird, wonderful, and totally compelling world of Haruki Murakami's short story, Birthday Girl. Seriously, it's one of those tales that starts off feeling so normal, but then it takes a sharp turn into something you just can't forget. So let's just start right there with the big question the story drops on our hero. What if, on your birthday, someone offered you one wish? I mean, anything you wanted. What would you even ask for? That single question is the engine that kicks this whole mysterious story into gear. Okay, now before we get into the nitty-gritty of the plot, there's a little trick Murakami is using here that's good to know. It's called a frame narrative. And really, all that means is it's a story inside another story. So our main character is telling this bizarre birthday memory to a friend years later, which kind of adds this whole other layer of memory and, how we interpret things. So our story begins on a day that should be special, but for our main character, yeah, it's anything but. It's shaping up to be a birthday she would probably love to forget. Let's paint the picture here. First off, our protagonist, she doesn't have a name, and Murakami does that on purpose, It strips away her specific identity so her experience feels more universal. She could be any of us. Anyway, she's turning 20, a huge milestone, but instead of celebrating, she's stuck working a shift at some Italian restaurant in Tokyo. And to top it all off, she just had a massive fight with her boyfriend. So yeah, her mood is not great. And this quote, it just perfectly captures where her head is at. A coworker had to call in sick and couldn't cover for her, and this is what she says. You can just feel the resignation, right? This big birthday is just another lousy day on the calendar. But then, of course, a totally random event shifts the entire story from boring and mundane to something truly bizarre. And this is when we first hear about the restaurant's mysterious, reclusive owner. So the trigger for all this is actually super simple. It's a rainy November 17th, and the restaurant manager, who, by the way, is the only person who ever sees the owner, gets incredibly sick. So sick, he has to be rushed to the hospital. And just like that, this tiny, random moment is what kicks off this whole surreal encounter. So with the manager gone, our birthday girl gets handed this really unusual job. She has to be the one to take the owner his dinner, personally, to his apartment in room 604, and she has to be there at 8 p.m. on the dot. And this is a huge deal because no one else on staff has ever seen the guy. Suddenly, her boring day is filled with this sense of mystery. And this quote just hammers home how much of a ghost this guy is. He's a complete phantom. He lives right upstairs, but he might as well be on another planet, just running his restaurant from the shadows. And this strange little task leads us right to the heart of the story. Her 5-minute, totally life-altering chat with this mysterious owner. So she gets to room 604, and the door opens. Standing there is this skinny, really well-dressed old man. He's super polite, very formal, and after she explains why she's there, he asks her to do something strange. He asks her to come inside, but just for 5 minutes. As soon as he finds out it's her 20th birthday, he gives her the first real birthday wish she's gotten all day. He even toasts to her with a glass of wine, and he treats this moment with this gravity, a seriousness that has been totally missing from her day so far. But right after that toast, things get even weirder. He tells her he wants to give her a birthday present, but not like a physical gift, something way, way bigger. He offers her one single wish. And you can tell he is 100% serious. He makes it crystal clear. You can wish for anything, and I will make it happen. Can you just imagine being her in that moment? Your terrible, boring day has just turned into some kind of bizarre fairy tale. So she actually thinks about it for a minute, and then she makes her wish. The owner seems a little surprised by it, but he grants it. But here's the thing, and this is so important. We, the audience, never find out what she wished for. And that's the whole point. The actual wish is kept secret, which kind of suggests that maybe the answer isn't as important as the act of figuring out what you truly want when it matters most. And then, just as quickly as it started, the whole thing is over. It leaves her and, us, grappling with what on earth just happened. Was any of that real? Or was it some kind of weird dream? The story just dives right into that uncertainty. That 5-minute conversation, that was it. She never laid eyes on the owner again. The whole experience was just so profound that she couldn't just go back to her normal shifts. She actually quit her job not long after that because she couldn't shake the feeling that something deep down had fundamentally changed for her. And this internal debate stays with her for years. As she's telling the story to her friend, you can feel how torn she is. On the one hand, she says, I know for sure that they did happen. But on the other hand, it was all so strange that she feels like maybe it was just an illusion. She's living right in that space between absolute certainty and total doubt. So, of course, her friend asks the one question that we're all thinking, right? Okay, so after all this time, did the wish actually come true? And her answer is just as mysterious as the wish itself. She says, basically, the results aren't in yet, because she still has her whole life to live. And that right there tells you her wish wasn't for something simple like winning the lottery or finding a new boyfriend. No, it was for something transformative. It was a path she now has to walk. The wish wasn't a destination, it was a direction. And that idea, that a wish is a direction, not a destination, that is the key to this whole story. So, what does it all mean? Well, to really get it, you have to see this story as a kind of key to unlocking that classic Murakami riddle. I mean, all his signature moves are here. He uses a nameless character so we can all see ourselves in her shoes. He leaves the ending open so that we, the readers, have to help create the meaning. And this mix of the boring and the bizarre, that's Murakami suggesting that real magic, real change, it's not in some fantasy world. It's hidden right here, in the fabric of our ordinary lives. And this is the final killer line she delivers in the story. It is the big takeaway. After all the magic and mystery, the story lands on this simple, powerful truth. No matter what you wish for, you can never be anything other than yourself. Maybe the biggest journey isn't to get something new, but just to become who you are meant to be all along. Which leaves us with one last thing to chew on. If her wish was, in some way, just about becoming herself, well then isn't the very act of living that out day by day the answer itself? It's a question that completely flips the idea of a wish on its head. It's not some gift you get from the outside, it's a journey you take on the inside. And that, right there, is the magic of Murakami.